Hello, everybody. It's Friday. I love Friday Fire because I get to talk about all the fire topics of the week, and there are quite a lot happening all around the world. But this one is called 1 trillion unlocked. And we'll get into what that means, but so much more stuff is unlocking right now as well. And banksters are on the verge of major disruption, as well as a few other types of industries, too. So let's get into it. Big thank you to the moderators in the chat and everybody for being here. And this is not financial advice. And shout out to Art and Soul. What a cool name. This is Art and Soul says, "This is my wife and my first time on Patreon. We are so excited to be part of the IA community and expand our horizons." Yeah. And yeah, things are expanding all right in the world, good and bad. So we'll try to prepare for all. First of all, the big news story of the day is this. This is how much realized cap has pumped into the actual space of crypto. And it's something to behold, basically, because what this means, what this chart basically breaks down, is the ultimate signal of adoption, reflecting the absolute sheer magnitude of money and capital flowing into Bitcoin. Never before has so much money flowed in so fast, ever. This is a historic milestone for Bitcoin to hit 1 trillion of realized cap. And if you look at the right-hand side of the chart, it's a lot of new money, a lot of conversion, a lot of ETFs, a lot of treasuries. And never before, again, I'll repeat this, has capital like this moved in at this velocity. This bull market is special. And by the way, it's still kind of funny because we still hear from people who's like, "Oh my God, Bitcoin's only at 120,000. Then I'm not even happy with that. It's actually about 118,000 right now. But it's the weekend, and we know what happens at the weekend. Yes. Let's see if we get a weekend pump. And thank you as well, Aaron. Appreciate you. Now, I know this image may trigger some people, but I'm just sharing the news, so don't shoot the messenger. But trillions are coming to crypto is my little title. The Trump executive order will now, hopefully soon, allow Americans to invest their pension funds, retirement savings into Bitcoin and crypto. Remember, American pensioners have $9 trillion in 401k savings alone, just 401k. Imagine if just 1% of that goes into Bitcoin and crypto, tax-free. It'll be huge, especially when it comes to rotating and pair trading tax-free for free. That's also a gift. And Australia has approved Bitcoin for mortgages. We always talk about Bitcoin being pristine collateral. Well, and by the way, shout out to our friends in Australia. We also know that Sydney has record high real estate prices. Typical supply and demand stuff. General Abdel, appreciate you. But now, this is wonderful news. People can use their Bitcoin as collateral to make it easier to buy a home down under. Okay, it's only a matter of time before the rest of the world starts seeing Bitcoin as this pristine collateral that will only go up over time. And for those of you who have had mortgages, imagine entering a mortgage 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and you see what happens to the value of your house, and you see what happens to the value of your mortgage in relation to the value of your house. Now, just imagine you have a Bitcoin-backed mortgage. So not only is your mortgage going to shrink, but it's going to shrink on steroids because the value of Bitcoin is going to go up really high. So shout out to the Australians. Good move there. And Bitcoin Maxi Mike, thank you for coming. Speaking of not Australians, but British, Adam Back, friend of the channel. He is basically building his treasury company with a very ambitious goal. These two actually were at Crypto Prague meeting, sitting side by side in a panel. It was great to see and hear from the two of them. But basically, Adam Back and his firm, which we'll get into in a second, if you don't already know what it is, they want to pass Michael Saylor. The game is on. Saylor, basically, over the last 12 to 18 months, has bought the next 3-4 years of Bitcoin supply. And that doesn't even include BlackRock as an ETF. It's crazy. Imagine another player trying to eclipse MicroStrategy's 600,000 Bitcoin bag. Bonkers. And this is the back of the SPAC. Excuse my crude pun, but back is part of the CEP stack, the Cantor Equity Party partners, not party, partners. And they are going to try to do many wonderful things. Remember, day one, they'll be launching with 30,000 Bitcoin. They have 1.5 billion to blow on Bitcoin. They will do convertible notes. They will do preferreds. They'll do Bitcoin and maybe an in-kind pipe as well. So you can funnel your Bitcoin tax-free into this vehicle and not incur capital gains taxes. I'm not sure if they're going to do that yet, but rumor has it they may try to do what Strive is doing too, which is the 403B conversion, some weird tax rule. Anyway, this is not only a very ambitious set of goals, but will also be the largest Bitcoin Treasury SPAC deal ever. Okay. And Cantor, by the way, Cantor Fitzgerald, the former chairman and CEO, is now part of the Trump administration to boot. They have all the connections. And people say, what are you talking about politics? Because politics and markets are inextricably linked, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot be in one without understanding the other. Simple. All right. However, I don't want to throw a wet blanket on Adam Back's thing. I think the Alchemist will be extremely hard to be caught. This is the Bitcoin Alchemist, aka Michael Saylor, also friend of the channel. He is a legend. I think the leg up is too much. Unless you have literally a money printer, I think it's going to be very hard to build a 600,000 Bitcoin bag. I could be wrong. And the Genius Act is just signed. Breaking news. By the way, I love that from my Swiss friend, Swiss Zulu. Genius Act, we'll talk about that in a second because that has massive implications for everything. And again, some people would like the world to stay the way it is, especially those companies that don't want to be disrupted. But banks and credit card companies are about to get whacked over the back of the head, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to talk about that as well in Friday Fire. Now, speaking of Michael Saylor, first though, it's very clear from the chart that he is ATMing today. He doesn't normally ATM on a Friday, but I can see it very clearly in the chart that he is selling equity. And why would he sell equity? Well, it's to buy Bitcoin. And the NAV premium as well is as follows. See the way everything is connected? The NAV premium right now for Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy is 1.73. So basically, you sell a stock. For every dollar you sell, you get to buy. For every share you sell, you get to buy. If you imagine $1 worth of stock, you get to buy $1.73 worth of Bitcoin. That's called the infinite money glitch that we've been talking about for years and years and years. You can see Semler has fallen to the bottom of the list. That actually was selling at a credit a couple of weeks back. GNS as well. Mara, what used to be at the top of the pile, selling at parity. Now they've gone up to 1.21. So Marathon is recovering. And I have Marathon, by the way, is Riot on there? Yes, it is. 2.17. Clean Spark. Just comparing all the miners real quick so I can refresh my mind. Clean Spark, 2.43. So the miners have actually had a great rebound too. At last. It's been a painful miner bear market. It's madness. Bitcoin goes to 120,000 and the miners didn't participate for the longest time. Anywho, more goodness. If you could not take any more, well, watch out. There's more coming. There is still a plan to have 0% capital gains tax on de minimis Bitcoin payments. That typically means $600 or less. So if you want to go buy a meal for your friends, you'll be able to bip with your Bitcoin at a restaurant or whatever. I don't advise that though. Use fiat for all payments. Hold on to your Bitcoin if you can. But this will be great as well because the whole world is about to change in terms of payments disruption, one of the biggest use cases for crypto. And as proof of that, stablecoins, Trounce, Visa. This is the crazy amount of stablecoin payments and movements without going through traditional financial rails. Absolutely insane to see this moment in history. And the credit card companies, the Visas, the MasterCards, all those folks are now beginning to wake up and say, well, we got to get some crypto rails or we will be destroyed, ladies and gentlemen, disrupted. I am seeing so much disruption happening all over the place, left, right, and center. There's nowhere I can look without seeing disruption happening. Nowhere. Except, of course, in the trades I had to fix a pipe myself yesterday because I couldn't actually get a plumber. So there I was on my knees fixing dirty pipes. But that's how it goes. And I should write too much information, but it's good to be down and dirty every now and again. But speaking of payments, this is a payments giant that makes point of sale systems called PACs. And they are going into crypto full on lean in. Bitcoin payments, crypto payments are going mainstream. Every single POS, not that POS, point of sale system vendor will be embracing Bitcoin. And big players as well, like Oracle, are in this business. Only a matter of time. I think they probably already are. They have Micros or something is their platform. They'll already be doing it too. And even CNBS is talking about credit card fees going to zero. Credit card companies, okay, make 3% on your transaction. And then they charge you 29.99% on the bill that you don't pay. It's a racket, ladies and gentlemen. But even CNBS anchors are openly talking about how Bitcoin and crypto could send credit card fees to zero. That's the real promise. Wild. And by the way, this is all related to that crypto bill, the Genius Act, that was just signed. I will be making a detailed Patreon post about this and the ramifications for banks, which is great. Who wants to say bye-bye, banksters? I do. Anywho, moving on. Whales are doing a little bit of profit taking. There was a bit of a flow into Coinbase, about 29,000 Bitcoin in the last hour. In addition, an old whale from 2011 moved 80,000 Bitcoin that was snapped up by a company called Galaxy. Mike Novogratz grabbed it. So even though there is a little bit of profit taking, everybody gets really alarmed. 29,000 Bitcoin is a lot. When you compare that to the thousands of Bitcoin that Saylor's buying every week, the market looks like it can absorb it. And now with the new CEP SPAC as well and their ambitions, it'll absorb it too, as well as the ETFs. And shout out once again to Cern Basher and thank him for being on DCA on Monday. But he talked about the RIAs, the investment advisors, for the first time after 18 months, are now beginning to recommend Bitcoin and crypto to their clients. Massive. And speaking of Bitcoin, but Solana and different ways of leveraging Bitcoin. This is from Marinade Finance. They are introducing BTC Sol, and this is the first restaking model built on Solana for Sol holders to accumulate native Bitcoin. Again, it's kind of like a Zeus flavor, but maybe a little bit different. We'll dig into this more on Monday because it could be an interesting story. But the more rails we have and the more collaboration between chains, the more synergy, the better it is for the space. So I'm very excited about this. And speaking of Solana as well, shout out to Marino. Debridge is flowing. 65 million flowed into Solana via Debridge this week alone. This is good. Also, let's check out the Solana chart because that has done pretty well too. It's only up $2 today. We've gone from, let me see, we were $140 13 days ago, 18 days ago. Now it's 178. So it has made a move, but guess what's made a bigger move is Ethereum. Ethereum has been on fire too. But DeFi Dev, which is a treasury company, are also planning to expand globally to 5 more countries to grow their Solana treasury vehicle worldwide. These guys are taking off and stacking an awful lot of Solana. And so is SSK, the new ETF, and more ETFs are coming soon too. And part of all of this, again, got to talk politics again because it impacts our bags. Paul Atkins says the SEC is considering an innovation exception from regulation to promote tokenization of everything. Companies like Robinhood are already going down this path, and every company around the world will do the same thing. Everything will be tokenized. And the landmark stablecoin legislation is driving this. It basically lit the fuse. Now we are going into warp speed, all things crypto, all things disruption, all things financial services, bonkers. There will come a day, ladies and gentlemen, if it's not already here for you now, where you will not need a bank or an ATM or a debit card anymore. You're going to do everything from your phone, everything with crypto. And if you're short, say $100,000 and you want to speculate, you'll be able to borrow against your crypto, all from your phone. It'll be deposited into your wallet on your phone. And then you can go perp it on your phone. The world is just changing so fast. It's completely as a TradFi guy, it's bonkers and exciting. And the pace of change is what we need to look at. And everything is changing very fast. Speaking of Ethereum, Tom Lee's Bitmine now owns 300,657 ETH, worth around $1 billion. And they are now the number one ETH treasury firm. They used to be a Bitcoin miner, but obviously they couldn't succeed at that. So why not pivot to Ethereum treasury? Interesting. And his cost basis is 3,461 per ETH. ETH, as we speak, is 3,550. So he's already made a $90 profit per ETH on this. But it would have been nicer to buy like $1,000, $1,200 rather than 3,500. Anyway, will ETH go back to the all-time high of 5,000? I think so, for sure. And that will trigger a crazy alt season. And we are going to get our banana zone. Enter a picture of a big banana up here across my face, if you can, please. Let's go. Now, a little bit of stock news too. Shorts are about to be obliterated once Tesla fully solves autonomy, which it's doing in Texas, and the cars are running around Sydney, they're running around China autonomously, Italy, Netherlands, Norway, Canada, Mexico. Autonomy is pretty much solved at scale, globally, at the same time, with the same car. It is absolutely crazy. But wait till Optimus goes into scale volume production. Then things will get pretty bonkers. And I'm going to share a few little interesting Tesla slides. People say, is it time to pivot? Can you talk more about Tesla? So here I am talking more about Tesla. This is also crazy. Tesla is now prepping customers for inclusion in the Robotaxi program, not to ride a Robotaxi, but to get your car ready to put it into the fleet, to have your car run around and make you money. This is crazy. This is happening way faster than expected. I thought this was going to happen in 2026, but again, early stages. We don't know how far this is out. But can you imagine? Your car becomes a money spinner. If this happens, watch the value of secondhand Teslas go to the moon. Okay, so if you're considering selling one cheap now, you may want to stall that decision. Anyway, and remember, most importantly as well, as Jeff Bezos used to say over 20 years ago, free cash flow is the most important metric. Okay, look at all these companies. Absolutely outrageous lines on the chart. You don't need to be a genius to figure this out, but basically, pure EV makers have burned, I think, $86 billion in cash. Okay, watch the yellow line. That's Rivian. Let me try to read this. Rivian has burnt a huge amount of cash. Okay, Rivian makes Lucid look tame, and they're burning a ton of amount of cash too. But at least Rivian are putting cars on the road that work. Lucid aren't putting very many cars on the road at a very high price, and in this economy, it's extremely difficult to sell them. But watch the red line. And I want to come back and revisit this chart in 6 to 12 and 24 months and watch how much that red line will go to the moon, because Tesla is about to enter the exponential phase. Okay, you're here. And the other thing about this list too, 2 of the companies are already dead, and a lot more are going to die. I think Cano is one, and Fisker is another. But wait till you see the others. And I think Ford as well, from what I hear, they've stopped making EVs because they're burning too much cash. They'll sell a car in EV for 50 grand. It'll cost them over 100,000 to make it. So that's just not sustainable. Anywho, that's not the point though. It's not a car company. Some people think it is. But this is another interesting little case in point too. It's when your competition gives you praise. Okay. This never happens. You never hear a Ford CEO saying, oh, General Motors is amazing. No, they'll never do that. But the Chinese will. They can swallow their pride. And when the competitors tip their hat, you know it's a game changer. And this is about the new Tesla Model 6 seater earning praise even from rivals like NIO and Li Auto. Now, one of the famous things that Elon Musk always said too, and this is the same thing for life, the best part is no part. This is a crazy, beautiful little image. Shout out to Sanjay too. It's a Mercedes C63. I drove one of those, by the way, years ago. It's a rocket machine. Makes a beautiful noise too. But the Tesla Model 3 performance is faster. but this is crazy. The car at the bottom has 3,500 moving parts. The car at the top has 40 moving parts, 40 versus over 3,000 moving parts. Now, what that basically tells you is there's the more parts you have, the more room you have for failure of any one of those parts. And therefore, the thing at the bottom is going to be very expensive to maintain, very expensive to build, very expensive to replace. Heaven forbid a crash happens, those parts are destroyed. You got to just write the whole thing off. Whereas the one at the top only has 40 parts. That is the best part, is no part. And talking of no parts, look, mom, no paint. Tesla files another patent. And basically, they have now found a way to build panels for cars with a color injection. So again, the whole panel is already colored. It's like, I don't know what it is, like a toy car for a kid or something. And this will cut cost, time, and complexity and increase speed to manufacturing. What Tesla want to do is be able to kick out a car every 5 seconds. And this will help that too. Removing the paint shop. Again, best part is no part. No paint. No paint. All injection molded as a patent. Competition is so far behind, it's not even funny. And speaking of money and unlocking trillions, well, this is another way to unlock trillions, which is a little bit of a sad way too. But the Fed is paying $500 million a day in interest. Who would like $500 million to land in their checking account every day? Wouldn't that be nice? $500 million a day in interest. And a large portion goes to foreign financial institutions. The money isn't even in the US, it goes overseas. And this is why everybody's looking to fire Jerome Powell. And when that happens, or when they get rid of him, or when he resigns, or whatever else, markets will go bonkers. And I'm here for that. Finally, meme du jour. I've never seen a meme take over X so much as this one in the last 24 hours. It's hilarious. But remember, the real message is, if you think you're having a bad day, at least you didn't get caught cheating at a Coldplay concert. So don't ever cheat. Be honest, be decent, be respectful to your partners. And a big thank you once again to the mods in the chat. That Coldplay thing is just hilarious. It's just the funniest thing ever. I hope you like the show, everybody. Thank you all for coming. And a big shout out as well to Aaron, Bitcoin Maxi Mike, General Abdul, Halo Calo, CZZ, I can't really pronounce that, B-Man, Crypto Last Outpost, and of course, 836-7212. Thank you all for coming, my friends. See you all tomorrow Saturday. Recap the week. And thank you to the mods in chat too. Bye-bye.